Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and today we have the Hizen second impression review for you guys. And before I get into the ship, I want to go over the rewards that you can get with the Hizen. I kind of glossed over those last time. So, all in all, if you go through the event and grind it out, you will get, of course, the Hizen with 2 permanent camouflages, the special dry dock camouflage, and of course the normal combat camouflage, and a 10-point commander. You'll get the Yahagi, and if you already have the Yahagi, you will get 4,000 dubs, which you can then turn around and buy a couple of stages with. The Tachibana, get 1 New Year permanent camouflage, 35 winter camos, 2,000 steel, 12,000 coal, 1 Santa small gift, 2 Santa big gift, and 1 Santa mega gift containers. You will get 2 days of premium time, 10,000 free XP, and then 10 of each of the special signal flags, those Uber signal flags that I use to hyper grind. And then, of course, you will get the Tier 9 Snowflake event with the Hizen as well, so that's more still there. Now, if you do go ahead and whale the event, it will cost you about $140. However, if you do that, you will get, in addition to all those rewards I just listed, you will get 5,200 more steel and 10,400 research points, which, again, if you're going to spend money on something like that, that is a pretty good reward, because 5,200 steel, that is a bit of steel. That's about a sixth of the way to the FDR, which is currently the most expensive steel ship in the game. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the characteristics of the ship now. If you want to see a full breakdown of like her stats and such, please go check out the first impressions video. I do a complete breakdown of that there. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into her. So talk about her armor. So after getting in just about every situation imaginable in the Hizen over the past week, I can say that her armor it's decent. It's definitely not the tankiest armor at tier 9, but it's far from the squishiest too. It's a nice middle point, and the armor isn't really what lets her down in terms of survivability. She is lacking a repair party. She has 1 less base than other tier 9 premiums, so you can only get up to 4 repair parties with the Hizen. And that's what really lets her down in the survivability department, not so much her armor. It's decent. It's not fantastic. It's not terrible. But for most situations that you'll find yourself in with the Hizen, which way you play is sniping, but we'll get on that in a moment. It's fine for that, as long as you stay angled, be aware of your surroundings. Can you brawl in it? Kinda, sorta. It's definitely not meant to be a brawler, but if you find yourself in that situation, she can do it if you know what you're doing, but definitely not the way the ship is meant to be played, for sure. She's much more of a backline sniper, hiding away from the enemy team. That's how the Hizen's supposed to be played, and for that, the armor is more than satisfactory. The main feature of this ship is, of course, her artillery, her guns. She gets 12 16-inch guns at tier 9. And I think a lot of people, they see that reload time, that 38-second base reload time, they just write the ship off. Like, listen guys, this is literally Montana levels of firepower at tier 9. And keep in mind that this ship can see tier 7 ships. And from whatever reason, matchmaking decided I was going to be top tier a lot over the past week with the Hizen. I think it might be because ranks going on right now. But I've been finding myself a lot of times in that top tier position fighting tier 7 ships, and 12 16-inch guns that are as accurate as the Hizen's fighting tier 7 ships. It's kind of like punching a puppy. Punching a puppy very, very hard. Because these guns are definitely the highlight of the ship. They're accurate, and I know some people said she has really wonky dispersion, and she does. At times she does. Because, again, 12 16-inch guns. But for having 12 16-inch guns, they are really accurate. Think about the Palmer. She has 12 15-inch guns, and they are not accurate at all. And part of that is because she's a German, and her playstyle is much different than the Hizen. But even by German standards, though, the Pommern's guns are not all that accurate. They have a 33-second reload time. At the Hizen, if you take the reload module, you can get that down to a 33-second reload time on 12 16-inch guns fighting tier 7 ships. In my case, a lot. But even at tier 9, that's still a lot of firepower. At tier 10, that's a decent bit of firepower. Is it overwhelming firepower at tier 10? No, but like I said, Montana has 12 16-inch guns, and so does the Hizen. These are the Japanese 16-inch guns, so the 410mm 16-inch guns. And with that 33-second reload time, I'm finding that they work pretty decently. And again, she does get that wonky Japanese dispersion from time to time, a little bit more often than I would like. But for the most part, if you have decent aim, the shells are going to go where you point the guns most of the time. Again, you get that wonky set dispersion every now and then, but it's not a constant thing with the Hizen. But I mean, every battleship gets that, except for like the Thunderer and like the Vermont with a full main battery build. You won't get too many of those. And that's something I said in the first impressions review, is that this ship is really what the American battleship line should have been. And what I mean by that is the balance between reload time and accuracy of the guns. And of course the maneuverability of the ship as well too. Because with the new American battleship line, you give up so much just to get consistent, accurate guns. You can't go over 23 knots. Your ship is huge. It's a huge target. It's slow. It's unmaneuverable. Where the Hizen, it's quick. Well, not, it's not a drag racer. It has a 28 knot top speed. With the speed flag, you can get that up to 29 knots, which is more than enough at tier 9, and a far cry from the 23 knots of the American battleship line. This is a much better, multi-gun sniper battleship than the American battleship line. I'm not talking about the caliber of the gun when I'm talking about the Vermont. I'm just talking about the characteristics and the way they balance the ship. This is much better in my opinion. And again, these guns are really sweet. They will go where you aim most of the time, again. And when they do hit, boy, they pack one heck of a punch. Especially if a ship slips up, it shows you their broadside, they're going to pay for it. They're going to pay for it big time. And if they don't show you their broadside, the sheer amount of shells you're throwing at them, if you hit their superstructure, you hit the lighter armored portion of their ship, it's going to hurt because you're just throwing so many shells at them. And in my opinion, these guns are great. Her AA rating is 64. And from my experience so far, that means she has no AA. That's why I keep the fighter equipped. I did swap the fighter out for a spotter, and getting that extra range is very nice. Don't get me wrong. But it just comes down to the question of, do you want to be able to at least make the CV pay for striking you if the fighters latch? Or do you just want the CV to have its way with you? Because if you're just by yourself or with a ship or two, it's not good enough for CVs, especially tier 10 CVs, and that fighter does come in handy. And again, that's kind of like the dilemma with fighters. It doesn't work half the time, but when you need it to work, and it does work, it's pretty effective at making CVs pay for striking you. But again, the spotter does give you more range, and that is nice. So that's up to you guys. I tried both, but for me, I'm just going to stick with the fighter for now. But yeah, AA rating, that means basically you have no AA. I think the most planes I shot down in the Hizen was like, I think 12. And that was because the CV just kept consistently going after me over and over and over again. But yeah, definitely not an AA boat. Maneuverability, I touched on this already. 29.5 knots top speed with the speed flag. It's definitely nice to play a ship that's like the American battleships, but can actually move from one flank to the other, and has the speed and maneuverability to do that in a quick fashion rather than taking half the match like the American battleships. But yeah, it's very nice. It's definitely a kiter for sure, and having the speed and maneuverability helps in that matter very much so, because it's great to be able to actually turn around and disengage playing a ship like this. Again, referring to the American battleships. Concealment-wise, 13.7 kilometers concealment. That's pretty darn nice, because at tier 9, in most cases, unless you got a DD spotting you, you can easily choose to or of course, there's no CV in the match. You can choose to disengage with that concealment. You know, it's not British battleship levels of well, actually, it's pretty close to it. But it's pretty nice concealment, and again, being able to pick and choose your battles with a ship like this is very, 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 very nice, especially considering you have one less heal than other tier 9 battleships. So if you're losing too much health, just go dark and run away. It's very nice. So overall, the ship, I'm still using the same build that I used in my first impressions video. Again, just swapping out the fighter and spotter every now and then just to see which one works better for me. And, you know, it performs like a tier 9 battleship. And there are instances where, with the 12 guns and with ships slipping up, you can outright remove ships from the match, especially cruisers. So it's a good ship in my mind. Is it this ultra amazing? You know, you gotta get the ship right now? No, it's not that. It's a good ship. It's a decent ship. It's a good tier 9 ship. Especially considering you can get this ship fairly cheap. If you grind through the event, which again, if you look at the directives, they are mostly, until you get to the higher up directives, just playing the game. A lot of these directives can be completed in co-op, and they're not really that hard for the most part. Again, some of the later directives are a bit harder. It's a pretty good ship for the price. And, you know, is it worth spending the $140 that you need to whale the event and get it right now? No, of course not. It's a decent ship. The Anchorage, after playing it for some time, and I haven't done the second impression review on the Anchorage because I kind of lost interest in playing it, it wasn't that great. It was an okay ship, but definitely not one worth the dockyard grind. This ship, on the other hand, I do think is a pretty good ship, and is worth just grinding it out just to get a very, very, very discounted tier 9 premium ship. If you like the Japanese battleships, this is for sure a Japanese battleship. It's, you know, it's not like the Shikishima that's kind of this weird hybrid between a German battleship and a Japanese battleship. The Hizen is a through and through Japanese battleship, and honestly, probably what the Izumo should have been. And again, I'm talking about like back in the day Izumo. But this would be a much better, in my opinion at least, bridge between the Amagi and the Yami. So you could literally just slot this ship into the tier 9 Japanese tech slot, and this would work, in my opinion at least. But it's a good ship. It's definitely one worth the grind. And again, you know, if you do want to like pay money for it and get it quicker, I would at least recommend grinding up to the halfway point through the through the dockyard event. Then at that point, at least the money you're spending on it is closer to how much you would spend on an actual tier 9 premium, rather than just going all out and cashing in and buying through the whole directives. Unless you want the steel, I can understand that. Steel's a pretty rare resource, so if you want the steel and you want to just buy the ship outright, yeah, go for it, because you can get, you know, 5,200 steel out of the, well, actually 7,200 steel out of the event if you do buy the ship outright. So that's my suggestion to you guys out there that are just itching to throw your wallet at the screen. Anyway, guys, hope this helped you determine whether or not you want to pick up the Hizen or want to do the grind for the Hizen. Again, pretty good ship, definitely a Japanese battleship. If you're used to playing Japanese battleships, you'll be right at home here. There's a bit longer reload time on those guns, but again, quite a lot of firepower for its tier. So anyway, guys, hope you're having a wonderful Saturday and a wonderful start off to year 2021. We finally got past that year of 2020 and all the madness that ensued in it. But anyway, guys, again, hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way now to 25,000 subs, just past 21,000 a couple weeks ago, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.